All right, this video is all about running an AK in competition, specifically my Zastava ZPAP M70. So let's go. All right, this past weekend, I shot a 2-gun match with my Zastava ZPAP. It was actually, you can run it all rifle, 2-gun style, which is rifle and pistol, or you could run PCC, which is a 9mm carbine. And even though I'm not a world champion shooter by no means at all, you know, after shooting matches the last, I think 20 years now, I can hold my own and do fairly well. Now this video, I'm going to highlight 3 stages from the match, and I'm going to point out some tips that I use to get ahead of the other competitors. I didn't come up with these. This is stuff I've learned from other competitors, and I'll show you in the clips, and I'll highlight where I applied these, I'll say tricks of the trade. So let's check out the first stage. Now this stage is going to kick off with me shooting 6-inch plates at 50 yards or so. I have to make up one, but I want you to pay attention to how I shoot after I make that left-hand turn and engage the targets. So here we go.
RDK! Shoot it ready, stand by.
Now pay attention, I'm going to run to the left. And notice how I shoot, and I start backing up, and that's going to go into tip number 1. Not the fastest reload, but I'll cover that later. And finish on the last target, and I had a pretty good time. So this brings me up to tip number 1, which is when you're shooting around a left or right piece of cover, and there's a lot more shooting to be done. The best way to do it is to shoot the innermost target first around that corner. That way you can start backing up and shoot those other targets that are at an easier angle to see around that barricade or cover. So you're doing 2 things at once. You're engaging the targets and you're moving to your next point that you need to be shooting at during the stage. So that's why I'm walking backwards and I'm shooting those closer, easier to see ones around that piece of cover. Now, tip number 2 is shooting the farthest target first. And the reason why you want to do that is most shooters think if you shoot the closest target first, you can blaze with speed and then slow down and make that far shot. It's actually takes longer and it's harder to go from super fast to then making yourself slow down to get that hard shot, as opposed to starting out calmly, shooting that far shot, and then building up speed as you start engaging the closer targets. So when you combine both tip 1 and 2, when you hit these left or right angles where you got to shoot around them, shoot the farthest targets first and then work your way into the closer targets. You'll get better hits and you'll probably get a better time, and you can start moving to your next point of fire. So applying both tip 1 and 2, you can really trim off a second or 2 against other competitors who are traditionally shooting, the first target they see and then shooting out far because they're stuck, sitting at that one angle. Now, if you watch in this next clip, I'm going to again start off with a sprint to the left-hand corner, and I'm going to apply tip number 1 and 2. I'm going to shoot the farthest innermost target first, and I'm going to start walking backwards as I get to the closer stuff. And this, you will see, brings me over to my next shooting point. So let's check out the clip.
53 guys. No shit, yeah.
All right, I'm going to sprint to this corner. I got to shoot the inside one, but now I'm switching to the innermost, farthest targets. Now I'm walking backwards, shooting the close, easy stuff, and it's one step over to my next point. Not the best reload right here. Now, I'm not moving anywhere else, so I am going to shoot near the far here. This is my last target. Now, pay attention to this last video clip. About halfway through, I have to perform a reload. It's not the fastest reload in the world, but because I'm doing it on the move, it really doesn't matter as long as I'm done by the time I get to my next shooting point. And that's tip number 3, is you should always be trying to do 2 things at once. Shooting and moving, reloading on the move. In competition, we call it a flat-footed reload, when you're just static in one spot and you hit your reload right there, because even if you can blaze a reload in 2 seconds, that's 2 seconds of no motion towards the next targets as you hit that reload. So the key is you don't have the fastest reload in the world, but as long as you're done reloading by the time you get to your next firing point, it's good enough because you're keeping up that momentum. Check it out in this next clip.
Shoot it ready, stand by.
I hit 2 small plates. And now shooting and moving, two things at once. You see, I never really stop. Pay attention to the reload, not the fastest, but by the time I get to the barrel, I'm back on the gun. And that's what you want. That's as fast as I have to reload. And cleaning up here at the end. Again, all targets only take 2. That's the best 2 hits. I didn't have to make up any bad hits.
Rifle's clear. Range is clear.
Now in my video 9-shot drill with the Zastava, I've covered all the modifications I've done to this. If you have not seen it yet, I'll put a link down below. But between that video and now, the only change I've made is I've added a Circle 10 compensator. Now, this compensator is exactly what I was looking for. A good compensator that helps cut down the recoil and is not overly gassy or super obnoxious. I don't want a compensator that feels like a 155 howitzer going off if you're standing around it. There are comps out there that do a better job at really cutting down and eliminating all the recoil, but they come at a cost. And that cost is, loudness, gassiness, super gassy, super obnoxious, and I just didn't want that. The recoil on this, again, it's cut down to about 2/3 of what an AK normally is as far as felt recoil. So this feels like basically a stock AR-15, and that's what I was going for. That way I can run this against other AR-15s in the match, and the recoil is really not going to slow me down. Now granted, 3-gun race rifle AR-15s really have no recoil, but this did not hold me back in the match, and I did fairly well. I did a lot better than I thought I was going to do, and I'm pretty happy. And I plan on running this at a lot more, all rifle and 2-gun style matches. So this performed the way I wanted to. I hope this video helped. Hope it was entertaining. Again, I'm Jeff Gerwich. Thanks for watching.